Most of the people haven't seen this, but what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another MMA Breakdown podcast. A lot of people do not remember UFC 189. It's when Conor McGregor won their interim title against Chad Mendes. A lot of these fans out there just do not remember this because Conor McGregor at that time wasn't the legendary status fighter he is today. He still was a huge name, but he wasn't as big as he is today. And we're going to take it over to Bas Rutten, a former UFC heavyweight champion, guy who is a legend in the sport. A lot of people out there do not know who Bas Rutten is. They just know Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey, and they think Khabib's just going to smash. But listen to what he says, because like I said, the Chad Mendes fight is the fight that is where I say Khabib's going to have his way. And you cannot tell me that Khabib is going to get knocked out, Khabib's going to get hurt, Khabib's going to gas out, because if Chad Mendes can do it with like a week of training, then Khabib is a whole nother beast. And that was at 145. So take it away, Bas Rutten.
You know, I go back to Chad Mendes, right? And Chad didn't have only 12 days to train or something, and he put him on his back immediately, pretty much. And he had a problem on his back. Khabib is a guy who's not going to run out of gas in a full training camp, and he's going to be on him. Now, don't get me wrong, and I mean, Khabib's never been knocked out, nothing, but Conor can hit. He can really hit. And if he really uses footwork, and he can land a shot and hope to capitalize on that, but I think once it goes to the ground, a guy like Khabib, it's just very hard to get off of you. Now, I don't know what he's been doing. He might have been wrestling even throughout his boxing camp that he had with Mayweather the match. I don't know, but he knows it's his Achilles heel. So he needs to work on that. And I had the same thing. I was pretty much the same as Conor. I was a great striker, but, you know, I sucked at takedown defense. So, I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a puncher's chance. He uses a lot of footwork, and he can tag him, and he can actually knock him out, stop him. Yeah, it will. Then Conor can do it, but can he knock him out? That's the question. Otherwise, it's going to be one of those fights that it's going to be grueling. It's going to be constantly on him. If you face a really good striker, there's nothing worse to fight him constantly pushing forward. Now, you're going to need a lot of stamina for that. But then again, you know, you're wearing your opponent out as well. So it's like the Cormier fights and Cain Velasquez. Like that, the best strikers have difficulty with that because you can't put your feet down, and all the power comes from the foot. If I can't push up on my back foot, I can't put my body weight in the punch. Now, it doesn't mean that I can still knock them out. Of course I can. You know, there's guys that get punched out with a punch like that. I'm not saying that. But, you know, in order to get a big guy and a strong guy, yeah, you want to have your foot on the floor, or 2 feet on the floor with hooks and uppercuts, and at least your back foot on the floor once you start throwing straight punches. And if you can't do that, well, it takes a lot of power away. So if Khabib is probably going to do this the whole time, and he's going to have to work angles, but it's 25 minutes fight time. It's a long time to avoid a takedown.
So, like I was saying, Bas Rutten is totally correct. If you look at Daniel Cormier, just look at him versus Steve Miocic. He was pressuring. Look at Cain Velasquez. Look at Cain when he fought Brock Lesnar. He was coming forward. Brock Lesnar never had a chance. Cain, if you notice something, Cain Velasquez, you look at Daniel Cormier, and you look at Khabib, you know what the difference is between a lot of these fighters, right? And a lot of these fighters, the big, huge difference is all three of those guys absolutely are almost mirror images of each other. They're both high-level wrestlers. They're all guys who are pretty much undefeated or dominated every weight class they fought in. And everybody says Khabib feels like a damn heavyweight. People say Khabib will pressure, and we've seen it in the fight where Khabib fought. Who did he fight? He fought Khabib and let me look it up. It's when Khabib fought Edson Barboza. What did he do? Every time Edson would try to turn around or escape, he would jog at him. He would just keep coming and coming and coming. And when you have a guy that is a vicious striker, but you have a guy that's just coming closer and closer and basically is chest to chest with you, you can't do that. And you might be training wrestling all year, like the last year and a half, right? But I still tell you, Khabib, if he can land 21 takedowns in a 15-minute fight, he's going to be able to do it. Yeah, Conor McGregor does have some takedowns in his career against people like fighters that nobody really cares about, like Dennis Seaver. He took him down. He took down Max Holloway. But none of those guys are on Khabib's level. Khabib does have submissions. Khabib does have high-level grappling. And Khabib is just a guy who mauls you. He takes what Tito Ortiz did and Mark Coleman did and takes it to a whole nother level. He just fucks people up. When you see Khabib versus Edson Barboza, Edson had no chance. Edson landed a couple kicks. He just kept coming. When he fought Michael Johnson cracked him a few times. But he kept coming and coming, and he would jog at him. And he can do that for 25 minutes. Conor's not a 25-minute fighter. He's maybe 2 rounds tops. When you get really, really pressured by somebody like Khabib, Khabib is a guy that just pressures you. Okay, yes, there's a chance that Conor's going to hit him with the left hand and knock his ass out and go, I told you so. And Khabib will be a 27-1 fighter, right? Or 26-1, right? The bottom line is, I think Khabib is like Rose Namajunas. You know, a lot of people aren't looking at that either. And the reason why I say Rose, look at the press conferences when Rose was fighting Joanna. Joanna's like the boogeyman, or like the boogie woman's coming for you. Tomorrow, I'm the baddest bitch. I'm beating you. And she looked stone-faced, just looked like there was no emotion. It was just stone-faced. And what happened was, she ended up beating Joanna, not once, but twice. The first time she made it look pretty easy. The second time, it was more of a closer fight, but she still won. And in the press conference, she never really said nothing. She looked stone-faced. And the same thing with Conor versus Mayweather. Mayweather, when Conor was talking trash and they were eye to eye, face to face before the 24 hours before the fight, when it was just the weigh-ins, he was talking so much mad stuff, and Mayweather just looked stone-faced. And he's like, I'm just gonna beat this guy. This guy can get in my face. He can do what he wants, but I know what I'm gonna do. And I think that's the same thing with Khabib. A lot of fighters are out there saying, and a lot of people out there saying, well, Khabib looks flustered. He looked nervous. He didn't look that great. He wasn't good. His English isn't that great. How's he going to win a press conference when his English isn't that great? And every time he goes to talk, Conor talks over him. Like Khabib, like, 6 October, I'm smashing you. And go, oh, smash me, brother. Smash me. See, he's trying to get in Khabib's face, trying to make Khabib lose his composure. But I don't think that's going to happen. And even UFC fighter Kevin Gastelum thinks it's going to be.
Every time somebody speaks about Khabib, they tell me how strong he is and how he feels like a heavyweight once he gets a hold of you. And then once he's on top of you, how he feels like a heavyweight. And so I feel like he grabs a hold of Conor. He's never felt that kind of pressure. And I think Khabib will get it done.
So you're Team Khabib on this one?
I'm Team Khabib, baby.
And that's the thing, Team Khabib all day. You know, I do like Conor's fighting style. I will tune in for this fight, you know. I think he has a tremendously good fighting style. He's knocked out a lot of opponents, right? But look what Conor did when he fought Nate Diaz in the first fight. He threw every power shot he could, and Nate Diaz still came forward. That's the problem. He throws a lot of power shots. And a lot of people say, well, Khabib's striking is amateur, right? Well, look at Jake Shields. He has weird striking. And that dude gets shit done all the time. You know, he might be a hell of a grappler, but he gets shit done hella times on the stand-up. And his boxing is really weird. And he trains with the Diaz brothers, but his boxing is really amateur, weird. Same thing with Khabib. He has weird boxing stand-up, but he gets done. He always gets done when you see him box. He throws a little bit of hands so he can take you down. And I don't think Conor is just gonna knock his ass out. I hope it's not a one-punch knockout fight like Jose Aldo versus Conor. I think Khabib will be able to take him down if Chad Mendes can take him down, and Chad is a 145-pound guy that's not as explosive as Khabib, not as vicious as Khabib, but could still bloody up Conor McGregor. You better bet your ass Khabib's gonna do the same thing, but in a more vicious and violent way. But as always, guys, that's my take on it. You heard what Bas Rutten said, and you heard what Kevin Gastelum said. They all say if Khabib can get him down, the fight is pretty much done, because one of the best stand-up guys ever in Edson Barboza was beat down, and he literally looked for that fight like he was done. He looked like he was injured. He just looked like I was out of breath. He looked like he was just done. He looked scared in his face. And when you watch the Michael Johnson fight, you literally hear the punches Khabib was landing when they were on the ground. You could hear it go like, and that's punches just landing off of his face, and he kept telling him, just give up, dude. You're done. I won this fight. You're no match for me. He was talking to him during that fight, telling him just to quit. But, man, do I want to see this fight. It's going to be this Saturday night, October 6th, 2018, from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. As always, that's my take on this fight, my last video I'm making on this fight. But Bas Rutten, he's telling like it is, baby. He is going to be a guy who either wins earlier in the fight, which if the fight ends in the first 2 rounds, it's going to be Khabib losing. But if it goes all 25 minutes, there's no way that Conor's cardio will be able to hold up to somebody taking him down. And I know people are going to boo if Khabib takes him down, but I believe he's going to get taken down and smashed. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Boom, baby. I'm out.